Hey there, welcome to a new album review, and today we actually have a very interesting, not necessarily album, but an EP, and it was an EP that I was browsing 2024/2025 EP lists and album lists and stuff like that, just to sometimes I gotta find stuff, and well, I came across this EP called Asian Glow, and the thing is, or rather from Asian Glow, that's the artist, and the thing that caught my attention was the name of the EP, which is just binary code, at least as I can perceive it. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros, basically. So, I was sitting there and I was going, well, I mean, that piqued my interest, so I decided to check it out, and it's essentially this half an hour long song, which is actually. Yeah, look, after hearing Meshuggah's High, I never really thought that I would actually see this again, but I guess here we are. And surprisingly, or rather, very surprisingly, I would say, I did not expect any of this. I was not aware of who Asian Glow was, I was not aware of the type of music they made or anything like that, so I was going in incredibly blind. The only thing that actually piqued my interest was literally just the EP name, and that was it. There was nothing else that piqued my curiosity or anything like that. I didn't research the artist or anything like that, just nothing. It just came in, okay, EP, half an hour, that's cool. It's one song, that's pretty much it, but it is a song that sort of evolves with the as it goes, and the genre is sort of this okay, how do I describe this? Have you ever heard Mogwai? Basically, that's kind of what it sounds like, but it sounds way more noisy, right? It sounds like someone just layered on top of each other so many instruments that you just sort of have this very busy background with a lot of noise going on, while you have an indie song playing, basically this indie sad sort of song playing, right? And I genuinely enjoyed the melody a lot. I had to listen to this twice. I think this is the first time I listened to this thing twice without knowing before actually making the review, because usually the only times that happens is when I already heard the album before touching it, so I already know the album. Usually if I'm hearing an album for the first time, I only tend to replay it after I'm done with the review, right? So you kind of tend to have the first impression of my listening. This time I had to listen to it twice because I was sitting there oh my, actually this is really good, you know what I mean? This is just very nice. Sure, there's a lot of noise and everything, and look, the singing, I find that really funny because the singing sounds like it's just someone, it's so in the middle of the mix. Yesterday I talked about Brutalismus 3000 sort of singing being kind of in the middle of the song, if you know what I mean. It's very far away, right? You can barely hear it in the mix, and here same thing, pretty much. These artists pretty much the same thing, right? There is singing, but it's so there's so much noise and everything that you're almost unable to actually distinguish between what is the noise and what is the actual instruments and stuff like that, right? So it gives these just atmosphere, or I guess ambient of very 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 noisy, very troubling, very unclear, basically, foggy, I think foggy is probably the best description for it. That's how I felt listening to the entire thing. In a way, it reminded me of the times that I was more depressed, and that everything around you just feels so foggy, and you feel so lost in the middle of it all, right? And you feel no one can really hear you, or that it's really hard for people to see you or whatever. That's sort of what it felt, honestly, listening to this. It was very again, it's very noisy, it's very foggy, and it's just there's singing in the middle of it. There's some melodies there, sure, but they're hard to understand, right? Because of all of the noise going on. And the song being half an hour long, the song sort of progresses, and essentially there are what I like to call 3 stages. At 10 minutes the song sort of changes, and then at 20 minutes it changes again, and there's a couple of changes throughout it, but for the most part it's aside from those moments that last 2-3 minutes, I would say, the entire thing sort of just it feels like an extended play, you know, like those YouTube videos that is just like, oh yeah, this song but like half an hour or whatever, right? That's sort of what this felt like to me essentially. And I don't know, honestly, I like I was expecting something sort of electronic, not even necessarily like indie noise, I guess, which is very weird to like, oh yeah, it's indie and it's noise, when usually indie doesn't, you know, want to be noisy. Usually indie wants to like be clean, especially with all of the acoustic stuff going on, but this just doesn't feel like clean at all, you know. It just feels noisy, but it also doesn't feel like super heavy, super in your face or anything like that. This is not like Dillinger Escape Plan or KMFDM noisy, you know. It's like, I don't even know, because it's not noisy because they're static or whatever. No, it's just like it feels they like someone like layered 5 fucking sounds on top of each other, and just like there's sort of this constant sort of thing going on, and just, I don't know, it feels really weird, but it's a thing that somehow works. Like, it's a thing that as far as atmospheric things go, and like as far as being in a vibe, and as far as being like, you know, very in tune with the song, I think it works really well. You know, like, again, I heard this twice before making the review, which is usually not something I tend to do, and I was just, I don't know, honest, I'm so taken aback. And I think this is exactly the type of shit that when I was depressed, this would like hit really fucking hard. Honestly, I think this would hit incredibly hard, because even now it did, you know. Even now I'm sitting here and I'm going, you know, like, this is, I've heard this twice, but I think this is already like one of the most like favorite things I've heard, at least in the last month, honestly. And that's saying a lot, because in the last month I heard Sleep Token, so, you know, like, I found Sleep Token out, so you know, I think it's saying a lot. It's definitely like, it's so weird as well, because the only reason I didn't know like Asian Glow or anything like that, the only fucking reason as to why I'm even covering this album is because I was looking through the fucking, I think it was on Rate Your Music, I think, or some shit like that, you know. And I was just looking there for like EPs to cover or whatever, albums to cover, or like, you know, recent releases or whatever. And I just saw like a bunch of fucking numbers. I found it like, oh, okay, that's funny, let's cover it. And I'm sitting here like, actually, you know, that was one of the best fucking experiences, musically speaking, that I have experienced this year, you know. And this year is when I started like this little project of hearing an album every day, so I think that's saying a lot. Personally, I think that's actually saying a lot. So yeah, even though, I mean, it's an half an hour, you know, EP with only one song, I honestly don't mind having spent the entire hour listening to this twice. Yeah, it's longer than some albums, but I don't even care, honestly. Like, my interest was piqued, and I'm glad it was. I'm glad that, like, you know, I decided to check it out, even if it has like a, I guess, quote unquote meme name. I actually tried to go on Google and sort of like use like those binary code to text translators or whatever, or converters or whatever. I couldn't make it work, so I don't know if the title is just like literally random ones and zeros, or if it actually means something or anything like that, right? I think it would make sense for it to be just random ones and zeros, because I think it does play really well into the, you know, noisy vibe of the album that sort of makes you feel like lost in the middle of, you know, the fog. But I mean, I don't know, like, it's really good. As for my 5 meter, I'm gonna be honest, I'm feeling a 10 out of 10 straight up. I think that it was definitely an experience, and it's an experience that I'll definitely repeat. I think this is actually like fucking really good. I'm so glad, like, you know, looking back, I fucking added this to my list of stuff to review as a meme, because I was like, oh, look, funny name, you know, like, funny name with ones and zeros. And then I you know, and I'm like, actually, this is really fucking good. This is really fucking good, honestly. But yeah, that was it for today, and I'll see you tomorrow with a new album review.